Hello everyone, in this video I'll be giving you a Sorlock build guide for in Baldur's Gate 3. Now the Sorlock is a Sorcerer or Warlock, and it actually is quite powerful. It's using two casters that use Charisma as their main spellcasting ability. So we're going to start off as one level of Sorcerer. The reason being we get Constitution saving throw proficiency from starting as a Sorcerer, which is very effective for us. So we want to be taking that because it makes all the difference in the world for holding concentrations. As far as our cantrips go, I think that some of the best are Ray of Frost and Shocking Grasp, as they will get double damage in water if you're able to set that up. And Minor Illusion is also a great one because you can group enemies together, you can steal from enemies, and if you're the face of the party, take friends. If not, Firebolt's a pretty good one, or Mage Hand for the ability to throw water bottles. Now, as far as spells go at level 1, I think that Magic Missile is really great. Chromatic Orb's good too for being able to deal damage at any type, but I think Shield is kind of a necessity because it's going to increase your armor class by 5 by using a reaction, allowing you to stay alive a little bit longer earlier in the game. Magic Missile deals force damage and it always hits, so that's a great one to take. And as far as we go for the subclasses, the two best are Draconic Bloodline and Storm Sorcery. Storm Sorcery allow you to fly as a bonus action, but we're going to go with the Draconic Bloodline here for the purposes of this build because it's quite strong. It'll give you mage armor pretty much all the time, and you can get extra health points from this class. So there's two really powerful ones we can go with. A lot of people go with the red ones, but I think that the cold or the lightning are better because lightning damage and cold damage can be doubled in water, and it gets extremely strong. So Armor of Agathis is kind of the go-to, I would say. The white ancestry is good. Also, if you like Fog Cloud, you can go with bronze for the lightning boost there. I wouldn't fully recommend that, but we're going to go with this here for Armor of Agathis because it gives you temporary health points and you deal cold damage. And if you upcast it, you can deal like 25 cold damage, so that gets pretty strong. We're not going to take scales, but you can if you like. As far as our ability stats go, now this is interesting because we're going to be using similar stats for our build. We want to have our charisma or constitution up to around 16, dexterity wherever you can get it to. The reason we want our charisma so high is that's what we use to spellcast with, so it's quite important. I'll be going over the gear for this build as well at the end, so stay tuned for that. But after we take the one level of Sorcerer, we're actually going to switch into the Warlock at this point, because the Warlock brings a lot of usefulness to the party with Eldritch Blast. So early on in the game, you're not going to have a whole lot of options for damage. Eldritch Blast is fantastic. And again, if you didn't take friends, Mage Hand, or Bone Chill. I like Bone Chill just for stopping the target from healing early on in the game. Now, we get to choose a subclass. There's two great choices here. The Fiend, the great old one. The Archfey is okay, but with the Fiend, we get temporary health points whenever we whenever we take an enemy to 0 health. I personally like the great old one. We get Dissonant Whispers, which will frighten a creature, which is really nice to have. Attach Insidious Laughter, knock it prone. But mortal reminder, when you land a critical hit on a creature, they must do a wisdom saving throw or else they are frightened until their next turn. Really nice early on, hitting Eldritch Blast critical and taking them pretty much out of the fight. So for our spells that we're going to take, I like Dissonant Whispers just for the psychic damage, and Hellish Rebuke's great too. It's tough. You kind of want to Hex though. Hex is going to put disadvantage on ability checks, so that can be really great. You can Hex someone for Constitution saving throw proficiency, and then you're going to break their concentration a little easier. Hellish Rebuke is a reaction, so I like this one just for being able to deal damage to people. If you have Armor of Agathis, it's going to deal damage, and then you can hit them with fire. So Cold and Fire is pretty fun. So that's what we're going to take for level 1 of the Warlock. The Warlock brings a lot of usefulness to the build here, so we're going to pick another spell here, and Arms of Hadar is great. Dissonant Whispers, one of these two. Arms of Hadar is going to stop creatures from using reactions, and Dissonant Whisper is going to frighten a creature and deal psychic damage. We get to pick our Eldritch Invocations here, so there's two main ones that are very important. Agonizing Blast will add our Charisma modifier to the damage it deals, so we get a nice +3, soon to be +4. And then also on top of that, Repelling Blast, so Eldritch Blast will push back 4.5 meters. What's nice about this is you can knock creatures off of ledges with that. Very effective. So that's what we're going to take for our second level of Warlock. At level 3, we get to choose our Pact Boon, and this is where things get interesting. So for level 2 spells, there's a couple good ones. People really like Cloud of Daggers for early game damage, because this will do 4 to 16. It's 4d4 of slashing damage, and it's in an area. People can run through it. It's a lot of fun, but I do think that Hold Person's a better concentration. Holds an enemy still, and then any attack within 3 meters is always critical. Very effective. Mirror Image can be nice too to boost your armor class by 9, so that's another option you can go with, but I think Hold Person's a little bit more effective. Now for our Pact Boon, there's a couple ones that work well with this build. So Pact of the Chain is going to give us the ability to find Familiar Quasit, which can scare enemies, which is nice. And the Imp can turn invisible. So if you like having summons around, Pact of the Chain can be pretty decent. Pact of the Tomb is going to give us a few different cantrips, which is nice to have, but Pact of the Blade, my personal favorite. What this does, it allows you to bind your weapon, and then whenever your weapon is bound, it's going to use Charisma as its attack modifier, which is huge. So we're going to be using our, instead of using our Weasley little dexterity, we got our nice strong Charisma. So that's really nice. We can riz them up with the attacks there. So at level 4, we're going to get ourselves a feat, and this is where the build starts to get a little stronger. I would take Mage Hand, because the Mage Hand can throw water bottles or health potions to heal you. Cloud of Daggers is a great one. I like Misty Step for the ability to move around the battlefield. That can be pretty useful early on as well. But we're going to take Cloud of Daggers because it's just nice, reliable early game damage. You can do Darkness and then put Cloud of Daggers in it, and that's just a nice crowd control option. So yeah, we got a bunch of different options here for feats. There's a few that stand out. I personally do think that ability improvement is probably our best bet here. We can take our Charisma up to 18, take Dexterity up to 16, so we're getting a nice +3 to Dexterity, +4 to Charisma check. So that's one more damage on our Eldritch Blasts, and that's great. At level 5, this is where we get the Deepened Pact, so we get an extra attack when we use our Pact weapon. So very nice. The Pact that changed Familiar gets extra attack. And then if we chose Pact of the Tomb, we get Animate Dead, Haste, and Call Lightning, which is pretty nice, honestly, but we can get those from Sorcerer. Now, we get level 3 spells here that are going to use the Warlock spell slots, so I would recommend going with Hunger of Hadar. This is great. Creatures within this black sphere are blinded, take damage at the end of turns, and at the start of their turns. It's a concentration, deals cold and acid damage, so the nice thing with cold damage, it can be doubled in water. We're going to go with that there. Counterspell can be nice too, but typically, I have that on a wizard because they're going to be burning through spell slots, and you don't want to use up all your spell slots for this, especially since the Warlock doesn't get as many spell slots. We also get another Eldritch Invocation, which I think the best one to go with. Beast Speech can be nice to use Speak with Animals, but Devil's Sight, giving you the ability to see in darkness up to a distance of 24 meters. Highly underrated. Being able to see in darkness is really effective, so I'd recommend going with that. If you're a drow, you already get a bit of that, but up to 24 meters is nice. Now, at level 6 Warlock, we don't get a whole lot. We get an extra spell. We get our subclass features. As a reaction, you can impose disadvantage on attack roll, which can be nice, but I think it's best to go back to Sorcerer, because the Sorcerer is, I think, the best class in the game. For our next spell that we're going to take, Chromatic Orb, because this can be upcasted, and it can do lightning or cold damage. Very effective. For our meta magic, Distance Spell increases range of spells by 50%, and Twin Spells. Now, Twin Spells is broken because we can Twin Haste on ourselves, and that gives us 2 actions. So we can go up front, fight, or we can also do it on 2 martial classes. It's very effective. So next, on level 3 Warlock, or level 3 Sorcerer, we're going to take another spell here. You get level 2 spells, so you can take something like Scorching Ray for extra damage. We already have Hold Person and Cloud of Daggers, so we don't have to worry about concentrations. And then we're going to take Quicken Spell, which is almost as broken as Twin Spell, but this allows you to cast a spell as a bonus action instead of an action, allowing us to cast 2 spells in a turn. If we haste ourselves, that's 3 spells. It gets pretty broken. So for cantrips, anything but Poison Spray. Poison Spray is just very weak. We didn't take Friends. We'll take Friends. But for our next level 2 spell, I would go with Misty Step, just for the mobility this brings. This is a bonus action as well, so you can Misty Step away if you're like potentially going to get wiped out. And now for our feat, ability improvement, obvious choice here. Take our Charisma up to 15. That's another point of damage on our Eldritch Blast. That's more likelihood of landing our spells, so it gets pretty nice. This build is quite powerful, honestly. Now for our level 3 spell, we already have Haste, so Haste is fantastic. I think that Haste is probably one of the best spells in this game. The reason being is we can, I'm just going to go verify we do have Haste. I don't know how we have Haste. That's strange. That might have been a glitch. But Haste can be twinned on yourself and another player, giving you an extra action for 2 people, which is extremely powerful. I'm not sure how this is on there, but we're going to take it. I would also recommend Lightning Bolt because this does 8d6 of lightning damage, can be doubled, so that does upwards of like 84 lightning damage, or 80. I can't do math right now. But the lightning damage is doubled in water, which is very effective, and it hits in a large area. So that's what we're going to take for our next spell selection there. Fireball is nice. These both do 8d6 of damage, so I think that Lightning Bolt is better. It hits in a straight line, but it can be doubled in damage, whereas water will half the damage of fire. So I think Lightning's just way better of a choice there. So we also get our bonuses from the Draconic Bloodline. So elemental affinity damage. When you cast a spell that deals a damage type associated with your Draconic ancestry, you add your Charisma modifier to the damage. So a nice +5 to any cold spells. And then we're also resistant if we use a sorcery point to that damage type. So that's nice. And then for our final level here, we get a nice choice of level 4 spells. So I think that the best one to go with is probably Ice Storm, because we have the cold dragon ancestry, so that's going to deal a little bit extra cold damage. I think that's pretty good. Confusion's nice if you like crowd control type spells, but Ice Storm will make slippery surfaces and it deals extra damage. So we want to have one particular item that's just going to make this build a whole lot more powerful. So I have the Mark of Heshker here, and then on top of that we're going to take Viconia's Waking Fortress. So our armor class is 22, 10 base armor class, +3 from the Draconic Resilience, +4 from Dexterity, +3 from Shield, +1 from Evasive Shoes, and +1 from Potent Robe. 22 is not too bad. We got the Mask of Soul Perception here. We could also go with a few different options. We don't have medium armor proficiency, but Helm of Baldur is pretty nice. Circlet of Hunter will allow you to hit more damage on anyone that's targeted with something that's going to increase your attack rolls. Murderous Cowl, or the Assassin of Baal Cowl can be decent, but I think that the Mask of Soul Perception is great. Deathstalker Mantle to turn invisible. You can also go with, I don't have it on this account, but the one that has the +1 armor class is a really great robe to use. Cloak of Displacement is probably the best one here to make sure you're not getting hit as often, because that's going to give you disadvantage on enemies disadvantage on attack rolls. Potent Robe, +1 armor class. Cantrips deal additional damage equal to your Charisma modifier, so that +5, again, very nice. And well liked and well forwarded. At the beginning of the turn, Robe activates, giving temporary health points equal to Charisma modifier. So nice +5 to health every turn. Gloves of Dexterity, just to make sure our armor class is not doo-doo. We can take that off, we'll lose an armor class point. You can also dump your Dexterity and put it into another stat. Evasive Shoes, +1 armor class. The Marco Heshker, this is the bread and butter of this build. This is what makes it very powerful. So we get Kareska's Favor, and what that does is going to give us the option to choose of two of the best. Would be Frost of the Dark Winter, which is going to give you Cone of Cold and Ice Storm for a free cast. I like Bolts of Doom though. I'm going to use this one. This is going to increase, it's going to give you attack equal to your Charisma modifier on top of your Lightning Bolt, as well as your Chain Lightning. So Chain Lightning being one of the best spells in the game. A free cast of it is incredible. And then the staff also has the Arcane Battery to give you another charge at level 4 spells, because that's what we got here. So Viconia's Walking Fortress gives you a lot of benefits. Advantage on saving throws against spells. Attack rolls against you have disadvantage. So very good for defense. +3 armor class. Amulet of Greater Health is one of the best in slot for this, because the more health you have, the better chance of surviving. Ring of Regeneration, 1 to 4 health at the start of each turn is awesome. And then the Crypt Lord Ring gives you a summon. Create Undead, very powerful just to have on your class. So the typical way about going would be to use your twin spell, take haste, put haste on yourself, put haste on your friend, and when you got haste on each other, you got an extra action. So that gets pretty powerful. And then you can also go with, you can melee in this build. Like, you can take out the weapon and put on like any type of weapon. The Mark Heshker is not the best to melee with, but you can swap it out if you need to. Hunger of Hadar is a great spell to have, just for the ability to basically shut down an area on the map. Oh, we lost control. But that is the most powerful Sorlock build in Baldur's Gate 3. Sorcerer Warlock, great charisma combination there. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you in the next video.